So it's 606, which is 6 on 6, which is 6 on the left, 6 on the right. Balance. Look, sister sent me the video and I was checking it out. I'm about to get into this. Let me do these quick invites. But hitting the fan in real time. And we don't really know how big this is, what we looking at. But we about to get into some of the stuff. It's kind of humorous, but that's falling on their head in real time. First of all, y'all know this is a holographic, three-dimensional mind matrix game of the gods played out as a 3D fixed position reality. And the storyline just took a dramatic paradigm shift. They was reading a list of charges for Joe Biden on Fox News. Then she sent me the lady at the Senate. I told y'all the laptop was gonna be the straw that broke the camel's back. Just cracked. So in real time, they didn't put it out there that Joe and Hunter Biden been making millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in human trafficking and illegal trades and using political office to secure business deals under the pretense of the United States government. Pull it up. Look it up. Now, don't just check it out. They putting all of it out there because they already got all of the evidence. Right? So I had got a message this morning about Trump announcing that he was running was a sign more than it was an actual bid for a presidential race on a defunct corporation of which he would be fully aware the corporation is defunct because he would be looking directly at the fall from the inside on top of pile. What he called it, bring down the deep state, drain the swamp. They investigating in the Senate. The lady want them to investigate why they sending all of these billions of dollars to Ukraine instead of doing some shit over here domestically where we need our own money. Look, the rule of selfishness. You got two kinds of selfish. You got constructive selfishness, which is selfishness in its proper context. You can't go help everybody else until you straight. You don't have to look like you straight to everybody else, but long as you know that you did what you needed to do to take care of you and yours, now you can reach out and help somebody else. The second selfishness, destructive selfishness, is this. I don't give what you go through as long as you do what I need you to do. I don't give a how many times you need me, but I guarantee you better have your ass there when I need you. Right? That's destructive selfishness. It's taking your ego needs over the understanding of the reality that we different, but we the same. Ain't no big eyes, ain't no little U's. True leadership comes with telling people to think for themselves and stop letting the machine think for you. That's leadership. Big Tookie say, the best thing these G's can do is teach these baby G's not to do the dumb we did. So now, and the walls came tumbling down, as Abernathy say. They did everything to tear us down, and now the machine is crumbling in real time. When they indict Biden, that means that he been compromised the whole time. That means that somebody went undercover in order to kiss the whole damn conspiracy. Drag that out in the open so the people could see who them dirty players was and what they was doing that made us call them dirty players. They mentioned on Fox News on live that they were charging him with human trafficking. Remember, we were talking about the adrenochrome rings. And, right, Matula ain't the only one. Matula was the signal. Because you got to have one chief lead the way for the rest of the chiefs to come on back home. That's right there. Matula, they would have rather released 100 other than release Matula. That's telling you a power shift is taking place. For them to release Matula, that's big. That's big. That's showing you the power shift. But can you see it? Or are you still running around bumping into the wall thinking that everybody crazy for telling you that they telling you? It been failed. Now the facade is an artificial front. It's starting to crumble. After these gorillas and shook from pillar to post out the back door. Right? Told y'all who them is, how they got here, where they came from. Showed you the blueprint of their map by following all you got to do is follow the flow of the bullshit in the history of humanity. It all traced back to a central point, Mount Sinai, or Mount Zion, or Mount Sinai in the Middle East. Talking about not Mount Kilimanjaro in Kenya, but they want you, because that's the Inky's holy place. So now the holy place to the children of Enlil is Ur of the Chaldees, or the city of fire. This is where you get your destruction by jinn story. And the jinns came in as fiery spirits. And then that's because they don't want to take credit for it. The dirt that they did when they burned down Rosewood, they want to blame it on a blind mob as if they don't know who did it. Niggas went and got Emmett Till and gave him over to somebody that wasn't us. Why would they do that to that kid? But y'all don't see that. Y'all read right past that in the story where it said them niggas went and got Emmett Till and surrendered them up to the so-called KKK. Y'all remember that, though. Y'all just read right over that part. Who's them niggas? And why is they giving a kid over to a murderous mob? Who does that? But we don't want to acknowledge that. That's right, Chief Littlehorn. And who told this narrative that he was whistling at a woman? When he was really whistling Dixie, the war cry. They know what they was doing when they murdered that baby. But he wasn't no baby. Look, he was whistling the war cry. He just hadn't perfected it yet, or their ass would have been beheaded before they ever got to him. He just hadn't got his whistle up because he know the frequency to call the warriors to war. That's why they wanted to put him down like a dog. Want to castrate him like we watching them try to do Kanye and Kyrie. This is what the shit is about. Them that do that dirt and watch other niggas hang a strange fruit and blame it on because they skin is light, so you won't never know that the black hen was them dirty niggas' hands hanging from under the KKK robes because they brought that shit over here as Blackamoor conquistadors. That's the tutors of the black nobility, the warriors of the clans. That's why they call them conquistadors. They send the tutors out to conquer in warfare and conjure. So they came. They challenged, and now they been lost. It's falling. Call your friends, tell them ain't no sense of going to work. Watch this unfold. Ain't no sense of going to sending these babies to their auction blocks and they training camps they call schools. Let's watch this unfold. Leader of the corporation, with Alzheimer's and dementia. But they give you telltale clues because they all look slightly different. Lookalikes. They not clones. Clones is not what you think they is. They don't just clone like that. They can, but they don't because there's repercussions come with that shit. That they found out a long time ago that you just can't do what you want to do even if you a so-called God. Because even gods have a higher set of principles and laws and values that they have to go by. Didn't your mama teach you better? Didn't she tell you when you go in there and dirty them dishes, you wash out what you mess up? It's consequences. Every time, ain't nobody getting out of here without paying for their dirt. And ain't no purple haze in my eye. I'm just sitting here watching us kiss the sky. God damn it, it's going up now. That's it. The fall of America. Our Savior has arrived. The Book of Lam off of Circle 7 flip. Because the 7 upside down in Arabic is a lamb. And a lamb is a lamb. And the lamb is the one who sacrificed. And only the righteous got enough sense to know the pre-karma built up from the self-sacrifice being the highest form of sacrifice makes it easier to overcome the obstacle when you understand the concept and the purpose and motive of you being here. Overcoming the obstacles. Living through the suffering in order to achieve the reward. Don't nobody want to do the hard part, but everybody want the reward at the end. But when they decide to do the hard part, he gonna see the reward at the end, but because that's been waiting on him, they gonna be stuck with crumbs because they did crumbs worth of labor. Everybody get exactly what they earn, meaning everybody get exactly what they earn, good, bad, or indifferent. Some people only put in 10%. They only can get out 100%. Because it's 10 to the increments of 10, but when you come around, it's still going to be 10% of what they would have got. You got to learn how to sacrifice yourself for your own greatest good in order for you to affect those around you to bump straight. That's a lot of commotion for one day. This shit going down today, right? It's today that they issued the statement. It's today. Hey.
Is that me?
That's you.
I'm sorry, peace. I didn't know I was gonna get on here. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Making some lentil soup. First of all, I just want to appreciate you and all your work and everything. I'm down here in Naptown, Indianapolis.
Okay.
Quick question. I was curious because I know everything's about to flip and everything like that. And like years ago, I had invested in foreign currency that's gold back. So I'm just curious, is that going to be of any substance or anything like the Iraqi dinar, the Zimbabwe, Vietnam dong, any of that?
Okay,
Are we going to
so
see?
anybody who invested in gold made silver made good investments. All of the people that only just stored their money in the bank made bad investments.
Right.
Because when you just store your money in the bank, it's just sitting there. They pay you interest on it, but they're lending it out. So when the banks fall, by default, your money is the collateral.
Okay.
Right? But when you invest in the metals, you're not investing in the fractional reserve lending process.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting your money in substance. You believe in the value of substance over hyperbole.
Right.
Hype. Right? Because they have everybody know that in order to retire, you need at least a couple $1 million in the bank if you don't want to live and struggle after you retire.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us, because of the lifestyle we live, we never accumulate anywhere near that.
Right.
Right? Why we don't accumulate? Because the taxes and the inflation is squeezing the money through the fractional reserve process.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we was getting robbed in the back door. They say robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
Right. So that's what they was doing the whole time. They was staving us off by making us think that we owe somebody something with this rolling debt system. That debt don't got nothing to do with us.
Right.
That's the debt of the corporation. That's because they not running the corporation in a efficient manner that it then went bankrupt several times, but nobody didn't close the contracts out.
Right, right.
One of the chiefs got to close the contracts out when they went bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them done it because any one of them that went to the public, because you got to do it in the public. And so that's why they murdered Martin and Malcolm, because they thought that they was going to come out to the public and spill the beans, and they was. As soon as they discovered it, the entirety of their struggles, they didn't see it. But every time they seen it, that's what got them murdered. Same with Medgar Evers. Right?
Mm.
That sheriff was paid to murder Medgar Evers.
Mm.
He was a mercenary for somebody. And it all traced back to something called the Black Hand when you talk about the South.
Mm.
And they did nothing move down there without the control of the Black Hand. Anybody in the South will tell you that. It's not even a secret. It's an open secret. All of the elders tell you, yeah, the worst thing down there was the Black Hand, but they say, but you can't talk about that outside the house.
Mm-hmm.
Because them niggas look like us, but not us.
Right, right.
That's why Tupac says it's my own. They say it's a white man I should fear, but it's my own kind doing all the killing here.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
They look like us, but they not us. They came to replace us. We caught them in the act.
Right.
Right? So they use pale faces to block institutions so that they can keep the brown faces ignorant. And long as you keep a people ignorant, you can keep them under control. And that's why they can't control Kanye, because he's not ignorant. Right? They can't control Kyrie because he's not ignorant. Then they just show their hand now. They start to expose themselves.
Right.
Right? And the more they try to push it down and cover it up, you're starting to see that the Black Hand is sliding from under that white robe. And one of them is gonna pull the hood off Clayton Bigsby. And you're gonna be like, that nigga was the big juice? And he look like us, but he ain't us.
Right.
Right? And they send pale faces out as the JDL and ADL to the public. But the more Zionist Jews own background.
Right.
It's another corporation used to do their bidding. See, they think we haven't realized a pattern. Everything programmed into the matrix has to move according to a pattern. Righteous have to move according to a pattern. The same that wicked have to move according to a specific pattern. So righteous always overcomes wickedness because it's always the superior position.
Right. Right.
And the superior position is the position of right.
Right.
Okay, now you hamper that by telling the truth. Now the wickedness be exposed to the light of being right. They call that enlightenment, awareness. So now all of the ones that was deceived start to see this, know what he's talking about, because this is what happened, and this even feel like my bones telling me this what happened. So Dr. York said, I gotta unravel these stories that they got tied up in knots in y'all brain. When you read them Emerald Tablets, it talks about being trapped in cycles within cycles. Right? So we start breaking all of these cycles by understanding who pulling the strings. Now it gets to the point where they front me and starting to turn on. They had the Jewish rabbi was on the hip hop talk show the other day, about 3 days ago. And he was talking about it's somebody else behind the ADL that's bankrolling it all. We call them the black nobility when we know who the is. But in law, the classification in legal status is free white persons in law. Right? And every time we figured it a way out, they looped it back into their system. That's what they did to the Moorish Science Temple. When Noble Drew Ali clearly had a clear-cut structure, all he has to do is don't contract with the corporation, and he can run the land. He can run the land like that. But he first got to build up the understanding of the people, the structure. But one of the clerks, it had to be a clerk because they handle the paperwork. Process the contract with the corporation. And that's why on the back of the nationality card now it said the holder of this card is a U.S. citizen. You can't be a Moorish national in the U.S. citizen. That's a double negative. Right?
I can't wait. So the gold standard, is it going to come back or no?
Everything gonna have to be backed up by substance in the new system.
Right.
Nobody's gonna be trading in fiat, and fractional reserve banking is gonna be done away with, and interest rates is gonna be removed because you don't need interest rates when your business is not making money off selling money.
Right. So who's going to make the announcement? I heard Trump, he's supposed to make that announcement. Is anybody going to make an announcement, an official announcement?
Well, first they got to tear the system down.
Okay,
that's what we're looking at today.
Right.
By them about to indict Biden, reading the charges off in the public domain.
Oh my God.
They presented the whole, law is called a prima facie case.
Mm-hmm.
In order to put together the prima facie case with as much detail, they got to have a lot of supporting facts from the background.
Right.
The most condemning thing is they showed a PowerPoint from Hunter Biden's laptop that was written in Chinese on the purchasing of American gas mining companies across the land.
Wow.
And then they got all of the money that they was using and for their pharmaceuticals and their child trafficking, all that. They brought out, they even said they were charging him with human trafficking because his funds have been tied to human trafficking organizations. And they already knew from the little Lolita that he bought several little girls from Epstein. That's old news. That's like common knowledge. Like everybody know that they call Bill Clinton George Bush's adopted son, but we don't know that because we ain't in the circle of D.C. But the people in D.C. know when they say, which one of the sons, they said he adopted one, or they talking Bill Clinton. Very few people even paid attention to the fact that John Hinckley Jr. was the old man Bush illegitimate son. He looked just like Jeb. Because you're going to keep it in the family. He needed to control. He needed that loyalty factor of a son that never really could be accepted by his father. In order to get that acceptance, he'd kill anybody. They needed to get Ronald Reagan up and stop trying to repair the economy, because they needed the economy to fall into the hands of the international bankers, the Prescotts. And George Herbert Walker Bush was the Bush and the Prescott. So the bankers sent him to control it from the intelligence region. He made the most boldest move when he killed Kennedy and overseeing that assassination for LBJ. That ain't no secret in the FBI, because you got FBI agents that know it as a common knowledge that it'll fly off the cuff in conversation as if nobody ain't say shit.
Okay.
You know, but every now and then civilians overhear that shit. And then they start piecing shit together. Right? The oil cutout company, the same one they was using to transport tons of cocaine, using the DEA to be the assassination branch of the CIA in order to get the drugs over here to sell in our communities. All that shit traceable and trackable. The Iran-Contra scandal laid it out better than anybody else, because there was congressional hearings on the dirt. Ain't nobody say shit. They just let the machine continue to run them up at that point.
Right. They said we've been on a dummy system for a minute.
They sure been keeping us dumb.
I'm talking about like the stock market and all that, and just how, it's just been running on false, because what was it? Was it 1999 or was it 2019? Federal Reserve, IRS, all that's done, right?
Yeah, so they run artificial trading on the stock market.
Right. So what about the central banks? Are there any more? Or they all shut down
They've
too?
been seized by military intelligence.
Okay.
So the orders that military intelligence had was, don't make the people suffer for the dirt of the dirty players at the top. So they allowing people opportunities to readjust their finances to minimize the impact on the turnaround. Right. So they'll do a paper currency buyback program. Right. And the paper currency buyback program did give you substance in the place of the fiat currency. Right? You have to be able to exchange that old dirty money for new clean money. And the only way to clean it up is to transfer it over. Right? From wrong to right.
Right. So will all the banks be Treasury? They'll be all Treasury banks?
When the banks start being exposed as falling, they're going to start encouraging people to set up family banks.
Okay.
Right. And this, what's known as the Small Business Administration is going to be, they're going to end up picking up the training for the structuring and of the family banks, right?
Okay.
And how to secure your own personal family asset,
Mm-hmm.
right? We use what's available that has the skill set and the reach to perform the function, and we keep that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's detrimental to the community is immediately eliminated.
Okay.
So
So
you
our
see
trust.
the food shortage is coming from the order to remove all GMOs out of the human food chain.
Right, right, right.
Right. So now as they start to move that stuff out, you start to see a food shortage as the side effect.
Okay. So trust, or should we still have trust set up and all of that?
Well,
Revocable or irrevocable?
you still need to know that knowledge. So
Right.
even if the trust becomes irrelevant, the practice is what gives you the ability to maximize it on the other side with the family bank. Because now you got the know-how,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even if you don't literally set the trust up, but you could do it on paper as if, and that's your practice.
Right. Yeah, I got one on paper. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the practice so that you'll know what you're doing when the family receives a asset,
Okay.
right? And they tell you how to organize and structure the family. You got to be able to know who's your banking committee, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people that, if it makes sense, will give the people the money to build it. But if it sounds like the dumbest shit in the world, they'll tell them no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the clarity. I appreciate it.
Okay, sweetie.
All right. Peace.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, what's going on, Phoenix?
what's going on? It's a good day. Today is a good day.
Yeah, I was going over that information. I was like, holy shit.
I know. I sent you that. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm one of the chiefs and got the news. Got the news. You know, this week been hot. It's
Yeah,
been
you know,
hot.
I woke up late as hell.
I know, right? And I was
So
telling you know, we're talking about
I had just started going through my
right,
messages when you called me. I hadn't even been
right.
on the phone. I was
Yeah,
still
because I
drinking
was
my
like, this
coffee.
week been hot. Everybody been getting drug out. You know, it's been several arrests. I want to say 4 or 5 arrests dealing with the assassination of the president and IAT. We got this going on with the Biden. We, you know, of course, know about the stuff with with the FTX, but what a lot of people don't know is some additional class action suits. So a lot of the people who are quote unquote celebrities. So from Tom Brady, Giselle, which we know that's wrapped into why they really had the divorce, Steph Curry's going to be over 100, and I think 9 people. So it's just like you say, if you did dirt, you're not getting out clean.
Ain't
Just like
nobody
you
getting out of
said.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, my man tell it in Doctor Strange. The bill always comes due.
The bill always come due, Chief. Yeah, but you've been telling them though. You literally been saying it. It's confirmation. I
Mm.
mean, you know, and it just is what it is. When they read them charges, though, I was like, damn. I said, I wonder if Chief then gave them a call. That man read them charges like you wrote that shit, like you wrote it down for. I said, the Chief write that shit down.
Shit, they shit motherfuckers. It sound like I be talking crazy until the shit happen.
Right,
Then they
right,
be like, hey, how you know that?
right, right. But I think what's interesting though is the confirmation to me is what like a lot of people don't read when I was listening to the charges is the tied up stuff with IAT because the child trafficking, you know, the stealing of the money. And of course, you know, we know it's tied up with everyone from Ukraine, which is why we know he kept sending all the money over. We know that, you know, it's America fighting with the war and also with IAT, which I sent you that about with Wakanda coming out, it was interesting why they added IATN, right? Because we're not saying they necessarily Wakanda, but the actual, how they said it was vibranium, but that actual meteor that hit Haiti that's over there, that's in what they call in Wakanda is actually in Haiti. So that's really what they're fighting to get, like you said, is the natural resources, because what you were just talking to the other goddess about when she was saying everything's got to be backed. And so just one, I think it's called iodine or something. I have to send the name, but it starts with the I. It's very rare. It's a meteor.
Iridium.
It's not iridium, yes. And so just 1 ton of it is worth 45 billion. So they like to push the narrative that Haiti's poor. They don't have anything. And we
Haiti's
know
in a warlock.
Haiti's been in a warlock, and that's what we've been talking about, been fighting to get out of, not only because of like a lot of people don't know, during that 2010 earthquake, a lot of the child trafficking, that's why they've been fighting to keep the UN out, the whole gas thing, like when they were reading that, the whole gasoline stuff, on top of dealing with they've been trying to get to that specific resource mineral, because like I said, in the new season.
It's more than that. You got to remember Operation Evergreen. Evergreen is Hillary Clinton.
Oh,
And the Evergreen shipping containers, they call her Evergreen because that's how she was trafficking the kids.
Yeah. And the woman over the Amber Alert system, the one who was helping her run the whole operation, is the one over the Amber Alert system. Did you know
that she got arrested in Haiti.
Yeah.
The Clintons got her out. And they came and put her in charge of the Amber Alert. But the whole point again is the Evergreen is the shipping containers that's used. Now, remember, Evergreen is part of the Garden Plot, which traces back to George Bush. Okay. Then you got the Clinton Whitewater.
Yeah, I remember that.
That goes back to the Nixon Watergate.
Yep, I remember that.
Right? So the Watergate that they exposing is Bill Gates.
That's because I was like, what is this? That's what it is.
Okay, so Bill Gates is a financier and a computer magnate with a sizable portion of finance. So what did they do? They charged him with the Sherman Antitrust Act and made him bust Microsoft up into 5 lesser companies.
Right.
One of them is a humanitarian aid cover story. And what they do is they harvest and try to culling the population through eugenics. Originally, eugenics was a genetic purification program based off Inky science.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why he had to bring back the original genetic template.
Right.
Okay, that's because Enlil went behind him and altered the genetics by stripping back what's known on a chromosome as the telomere. He stripped the telomere back so that we age faster.
Yeah, I did. That's why because we used to didn't have to age that fast. Yeah, I know we used to live much longer.
Right. Now, some of us still have what you call elongated telomeres, and you can tell, and it's mostly women, but you can tell because they'll have gray hair, but they'll still look 20.
Yep.
Right. That's because they still have that carryover from when they was, long lived. Okay. Now, when we get through with the eugenics program, we end up talking about Kanye, Margaret Sanger.
Yep, because he brought her up.
And the genocide.
Right.
Using the eugenics program under Enlil orders to overthrow Enki.
Right.
Right. So all this goes back to Nibiru, conflict of the gods, which bring us to Earth on Mount Sinai in the Middle East and spread around the planet. They went north as Ottomans to invade Turkey, set up the Ottoman Empire.
Right.
The Ottoman Empire was ran by Alis, Deys, and Beys.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay now the they also went into the what's called the motherland.
Mm-hmm.
The Sahara Desert was strangled out to run them out of there
And
by
you know they're going to
rerouting the
Mount
Nile
Sinai
River.
this week. Remember, or next week? Remember I sent you that about them
Mm-hmm.
going to Mount Sinai?
Mm-hmm.
Because they trying to
That's
do it, they calling all the people because they trying to do their own war conjure thing again,
they
basically.
wrote about that in Revelations. That's called the congregation of the synagogue of Satan.
Mm.
So all of the religions trace back to the Middle East and Babylon. Those are Enlil's progeny.
Yep, it is. Mm-hmm.
So that who's ever running or the leader or the front man for those are all
Mm-hmm.
drawn back
And that's what they doing.
to
Yep.
the synagogue of
Mm-hmm.
Satan to
Mm-hmm.
get the news that Enlil lost and y'all bitch ass fried. They think they're going to get the keys to the kingdom, but they don't know they're going to get put
Put them
like
out.
the dog they are.
Drag them out. Get these niggas. Drag them out. Drag them out. Drag them out. Drag them out. But you know, I told you because when we were talking on the astrology tip, I try not to go too deep, but I was saying, y'all, this eclipse energy. Eclipses come to not only eclipse things, which is beginnings and ends, but it's also exposing. It's to bring the shit out and bring it to the light. And that's why, if you notice, that was on with October 25th, and then the last one, which was at November 8th. And I told them that House of Taurus is money, security, stability, also kind of deals with that governmental energy. And it's all in line. I said, this is just the runway. And that's why they read those charges. Because when I tell you, prophet word don't be coming back to you void. If I say some shit, it is. That's what they read them for, and it's leading up to that America's return. That's what it is. It's that harmonic return that's leading up to that March of 2023 when all that shit finna hit the fan. And it has to come out because it's galactic. It's a line. And it's like what you said. If they
That's
can't do
line
no
right
blood
there.
sacrifices to do it. And Oshun, the waters of Oshun coming home. Like, the sweet water coming back.
Look, oh yeah, and I ain't pulling emotions back for nothing.
Huh.
I done already told people don't trust the coast. That water has to come back. And the longer it's out, the more vintage it's gonna come back with.
Ooh, what you said. What you said. Because I'm telling you, and the goddesses, like what they don't understand is the goddesses, not only are the goddesses strengthening and uniting because they had us at war for so long with each other. You would have, I mean, like even today, if I go to the store, a goddess, I don't know, normally black women, we are melanated, whatever goddesses, we walk past each other, we wouldn't even speak. Now we'll speak, we unite, like our vibrations are getting in sync. The divine masculine and divine feminine energies are uniting. Like we're coming into like a beautiful choir as one. And like, I mean, I'm an astral traveler, so I'm in the realms all the time. And so I know what's going on. And so that's what they feared because they can't stop us. And all the ancient souls and the spiritual assassins are here. So that's why I said, I already know the chiefs are free. We're not on a time clock, and their clock is wrong anyway. Because they fucked the clock up in the time in the Gregorian calendar. I ain't messed about their calendar. But what I do know is even how the menstrual cycles are moving. And so as a divine feminine energy, that's what I go by. Because like even when I went to the water the last time, it wasn't even technically time for my cycle, but it moved and shifted when I got into the Atlantic Ocean, was in the Florida coast, and it was on the cycles. And so that's how I know the divine feminine. I'm moving with Planet Kai. And when I get around a bunch of other divine goddesses, we all started around the same time. So that's how we move, because that's why they call it the menstrual cycle in the moon cycles. So we're shifting back with the planet.
You see that question right there? Ties to what you're talking about.
But the moon is unnatural in the atmosphere. So how do we, what did she say? Entertain this part. Okay, so
let me answer him right quick.
Okay.
So a long time ago, the moon was put there to take away the women's ability to control their menstrual cycle.
Right.
The women learned how to harness the energy used to control them as a tool of manifestation. And this is why we entertain the moon's purpose. We use everything they use to oppress us. We had to find out how to use that as a come up. So what she's reading her body, and I'm posting the description right here to the question, right? Because you reading the influence of the moon, which is telling you something, right? So this why we entertain the moon being there is because we learned how to use the lunar energy. At first, we didn't know how to use it, and it drove the women mad. That's what they call lunacy. And they classify him as a lunatic. But when the women learn to control it, now they can deal with the energy. They can harness it and utilize it. And that's when they knew they was in serious trouble.
And so there's goddesses that because it ain't even necessarily the moon, like with us or me, if you're a person that's galactic or astrological and you look at all the other planetary alignments, if you're a person who does yoni things, if you're a person who watches what you eat and you eat certain places, if you're an astral traveler, you sit with yourself and inside yourself and you meditate. And then that's why Ra says, Big Mama say that if you fuck long enough, you can do that, but about getting to about the sex, which is sacred energy exchange and making love, because that's the highest form of manifestation. And that's one of, like when he was saying, when we learned how to, because like I learned what they call Reiki or energy exchange, when you lock into energy, chakras, auras, if you're with your partner, that's how, as a divine feminine, we learned how to overcome their guides. So that's what they may call us dark empaths or whatever. But as a practitioner, learning certain of their days of the weeks, and we learn how to use the shit that they tried to pull against us, and we put that shit back on their ass. That's
so
what we do.
When you study Saturn, you learn about the energy of Lilith.
Yes, that's come on now.
When you learn, they don't want you studying the energy of Lilith. Because when those 3 days you don't see the moon and you harness that Lilith energy, you can still make your dreadlocks shoot fire in the air.
That's that Lilith. They call it your greatest strength or your greatest weakness. That's the Lilith energy. And that's why when I speak to goddesses on astrology and I teach, that's why I call it women yoni cycles and moon power, because it's the Lilith energy. It's using what was our greatest weakness, because they turned our strength into a weakness.
That's what they put in there to block the energy of Saturn out.
That's it.
When Saturn used to light the sky up like a fluorescent bulb at night, and it made the whites glow like you under a fluorescent light. And that's the energy wave that you used to ride as a light beam. So they had to block that out by creating an artificial light. The moon is a spaceship.
That's it.
It fucking take off and shit get thick.
Yeah.
Right? But it's up there to block the women from being able to access that Lilith energy so freely all month long.
And see, with me, like, I love the earth, the ground, the trees. And that's why I said, and you brought up the moon, but you didn't hear when I said I was in the ocean. See, I'm a child of Yemiya and Oshun. I'm a water. I goes to the water, the ocean, and once I hit that goddamn water, and then I am rather thin. So I learned to be what they call an alchemist. I'm gonna use everything. I'm gonna use the earth, the air, the water, and the fire, which is the sun. So I'm gonna pull into all my shit. And so that's why when you need to understand your natal chart and understand your planets and your placements, you don't just look at, oh, I'm a Leo or what they call Leo. I'm gonna pull all the energy, but once I get in that water as a divine feminine, there's certain energies I'm gonna pull from that. I may go into get to the trees and the grass and go barefooted and get that. When I'm getting in the sun, I don't care if it's cold day, like right now they're trying to attack us with their winter, whatever they trying to do. But I'm gonna get everything. And I promise you, I'm gonna use it. And I know exactly what placements when and where everything is at. Even when they're calling this Mars in Gemini and retrograde. Actually, I'm loving it, because I know when January hit, I'm a tag ass, because I know where Gemini is in my placements. So that's when you become a master spiritual assassin. Because like I say, at first, I'm a warrior before I'm anything else. And then I'm a divine mother and a teacher. But before anything else, I'm a warrior.
Hey, type your stuff in there, because people actually how to get in touch with you in the comments.
Oh, okay, Chief.
And then I'm going to pin it.
Oh, okay. And then I'm gonna get off so you can get some other people. I know people got questions, but good chopping it up. Drag these niggas on.
I just tell it like it is. Shit, my feelings was
Yes,
hurt.
drag them,
Look,
drag.
my feelings was hurt when I found out the niggas look like us.
Hey, you said it best, and you know it's another one of them that's in Arizona. I'm just saying this, and I'm gonna get off. That she's a white person, really she's a Moor, but she's trying to say she white, but she one of them ones that look like us, but she not us, and she's tied up in there where they were trying to fight for that Arizona seat. But I'm trying to figure out if she righteous or unrighteous. I'm trying to see, because is she on? I'm feeling out. I'm watching the spirit energy, but drag them. Everybody can get drugged at this point, and really where we kind of got to get at is we should be able to sit in our homes and be in the spirit realm like they was during the Haitian Revolution, and had these niggas turn each other and shit fall out. Like I can sit in my house and somebody, there should be forest fires going on. Like we should be able to be here where we don't even have to move. Like we got to be in some different energy. I mean, we gonna do it. It may be into being some hand-to-hand combat, but we got to be this. Like I said, I'll say this, and I'm gonna go off. For a divine feminine, me and my Thomas is when I'm most dangerous, because by nature they had painted us to be emotional. That's when they murdered our babies in front of us. That's when they murdered our men. That's when they raped us. When they stole our land. So when I learned to master my emotions and detach and sit into my masculine and feminine energy equally, that's when I became my most dangerous spirit. Because a woman, a divine feminine that is not emotional, is a very dangerous woman. Because that means I'm in my mental, spiritual faculties. And right now, that's where we are as divine feminines, and we the most dangerous you could ever meet in your entire life, because we are not emotional and you are not with our energy. All right, y'all have a blessed night.
All right, thank you, sweetie.
All right.
I didn't see her put her. Let me go back and look.